Yeah, my name's Preston Roberts, and I've been living out in the woods for a long time, most of my adult life, and so I do a lot of stuff with that. I'm on the board of directors of Turtle Island Preserve. I'm a co-founder of that camp. It's an outdoor education center where we teach about the natural world, and more than that, I guess I like to live a simple, primitive lifestyle. So I, still use outhouses, and we still heat with firewood, and do a lot of things on a simple, low-key kind of level. And full-time in the woods, I guess. I can remember the first shelter that I built, and I think I was 4 years old when I built it, and it was built out of some cardboard boxes in the backyard and an old green army blanket and some rocks. And so I just took those boxes and stacked them up and draped the blanket over the top of it, and stretched it out with rocks, and held it down with that. And the really unusual thing is I asked my parents if I could sleep in it that night, and they told me I could. I stayed there the whole night, and I was just that's a pretty amazing thing. I think about, like, I have a 4-year-old, well, he's 5 years old now, grandson, and I'm trying to imagine him sleeping in the backyard by himself for a night. I don't really think he'd quite do it just yet. Oh yeah, I would. I'd love to spend more time in primitive shelters, and I've lived in primitive shelters. Lived in a teepee for a year and a half. We've just done. My wife and I and our family, our boys, we've camped. And camped all over. I think a lot of people get wrapped up into like a survival. Like, oh, this is a survival thing. I can do all that stuff, but I'm not so much interested in it. What I'm really more interested in is kind of marrying that idea with a modern existence. So like, I really like the idea and the notion of living primitive and simple in the woods in a modern context, rather than just going out and seeing if I can survive a weekend without modern conveniences. And so I can do both of them, and I have done both of them, but I really like I like doing those old things today. Still they're still very applicable to our lifestyles nowadays, and I think that a lot of times we feel like we've moved past that kind of a lifestyle, and I believe we haven't. I think that you can live a deliberate, simple lifestyle that's cheap and brings you a richer and fuller life. People that really have inspired me would be the Native American people. I've spent a lot of time with them all over the country, and it's been important for me to interact with them and to see a lot of things firsthand. I've studied and researched a lot about the Native people. They're really, when I look at the mountains up here, they're the real experts of this part of the country. It's like, that's who I go to for inspiration. It's like, if I want to make a bow and I'm thinking, wow, what kind of wood would I make? I'd look at what the Native American people were using in this area, and I'd go get that black locust tree that's up on the mountain, and I'd make my bow from the same wood that the people that lived here did. But I'm also very inspired by the mountain people, how they had close-knit families, how they had an oral tradition that went on for hundreds of years, how they lived close to the land, how they raised their own food, how they processed that food, and how they canned it and preserved it and kept themselves going. Like, I've been hugely inspired by the mountain people as well. Well, the primitive setting is a foundation. It's a foundation for everything, really. You have to be able to meet survival needs before you can have any other kind of need taken care of. It's like for instance, you wouldn't reproduce until you could manage to have a good, sustainable lifestyle where you could take care of your offspring. You just wouldn't do it, So it's like the primal housing, the primal food gathering, all that stuff is just a foundation that everybody has nowadays. Those rules have not changed one bit since the beginning of time. They're exactly the same. They have to be met. But what's happened is we've kind of moved into a society where you don't really have to have that. It's like, it's easy to get food, it's easy to get shelter, it's easy to get new clothes, and we've lost touch with all that. But we still have to have it. You still have to have it today. It's not changing at all. Well, I believe in form follows function. It's it's an art concept, but it totally works. For this whole survival shelter, if I'm out there, it's going to be one night long. It has to be quick and energy efficient when I build it. If I'm going to build a debris shelter, and say I need to have 3 feet of leaves on top of there to stay warm that night, that's a lot of energy expenditure to just get that many leaves together. So I want to really utilize the natural surroundings, the best as I can. So it might be a tree, might be a rock, might be a big dirt, might be a root ball. I'm going to utilize what's around me, to the best of my ability, and from there I'll start applying some of the things I know about water and the elements, and about that water runs downhill, and that's a pretty basic concept. So I also like fire. Like if you gave me a choice between whether I was going to build a warm shelter for the night or have a fire, I'm going to pick the fire. I can hug up on a fire and stay pretty warm all night long. Whereas if I'm rolled up in a bunch of wet leaves, I'm going to be pretty miserable all night long. So, I start prioritizing things pretty quickly. Things that I like about primitive shelters is that you're using the materials that are surrounding you in that particular place. And I think that you should always do that. Like even if you're building a modern house, instead of importing Venetian marble and getting cedar from the west coast of the United States, and getting all this man-made goobly goop and putting it together, and transporting things over vast portions of the continent, I think it's just nice and important to remember that your shelter should come from the surroundings that you're immersed in. And so like for me here, that means I'd be building with a lot of poplar, white pine, locust trees, maple, cherry. I'd use a lot of rock, and I'd have water coming to my house by gravity. So some of those things I think are really nice and essential to having, like to me, a wholesome house. And it also, when I'm inside that dwelling, like when I'm in this dwelling right now, as I look at the locust posts that are supporting it and the poplar beams that are going over the top of my head, and I remember those trees. I know where these trees came from, and I can point you right to them. And I cut them down, and I loaded them on a truck, and I took those beams to a sawmill, and I had them sawed out. I sawed them to length. I picked them up with the help of my wife and stuff while she was going through cancer, and put all this stuff together, just with my hands. And I have this relationship with this building that's different than what most people have now. So I can come in these buildings, and they have context. It's like, there's that locust tree. Here's my poplar that I carried and sawed out. Here's my roof that I climbed up and tied off with a rope and slid down the side of. And so I have a personal relationship with the structure, because of that interaction on a local basis that you don't get in a normal house. You go in a motel, and it's a sheetrock, and it's painted, and it's got carpet, and you don't have any kind of connection to it at all. And so I think that doing that with structure gives me more of a richer life, something a little bit fuller than what a lot of people experience. That word master, I kind of like to shy away from that. And here's why, is that I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and I've had people go, oh, he's a master woodsman, he's a master knife maker, he's a master carpenter, and all that stuff's great. But the reality is, I don't want to be a master of any one set of skills. I want to be able to do lots and lots and lots of skills. So, and just let it go, because I've got that skill, I got enough of a mastery to be able to survive with it at any rate. I'm an accomplished knife maker. I'm a teacher. That's my number one thing. I've been teaching since I was 25, I guess. I've been teaching. So, I guess if I had to be remembered for being really good at one thing, it'd be being a teacher. But I'm also a builder. I build lots and lots of different kinds of structures, and all of them in a primitive kind of setting. Structures like this one we're in now, or the cabin you just drove by down the hill. And anyway, I don't want to be a master of anything. I just want to be good at a lot of stuff. Well, one thing I really hope is that people use me and say that, wow, I can do that. It's just simple little steps. It's a deliberate consciousness about how we live and we interact in the world today. It's not that big of a sacrifice. You get to learn how to do it, live more deliberately. And I like to think that there was somewhere in the past and somewhere in the present, there's just this really nice balance in there that makes it possible for us to live like a wholesome life.